So, thinking about coming to Japan, are you? Thinking about getting on a plane and coming over here and having a go on all them maid cafes and dog cafes and Pokemon cafes and all cafes in the world, because Japan's got a thing about cafes for some reason. But there's more to Japan than just that. You know, we've got temples and that, and Mount Fuji's a thing, and, you know, you can still use a fax machine. It's a wonderful place. But, you know, moving to Japan is not that easy when you don't know what you're doing. Luckily for you, I'm here to point you in the right direction. Konnichiwa everyone, I'm Dan. How you doing today? Hopefully you're doing alright wherever you're watching this from. So, I've now been in Japan for about 7 years, but I was once just like you. I was sat there at my computer thinking, you know what, I do fancy having a go on Japan. But I didn't know what to do. I didn't really know how to go about doing that. So, what I thought, it's like, well, I've now been here a while. I know what to do now. I didn't know what to do then. So, I'll just, pass on that information to anyone that fancies watching. And that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to tell you how I came to Japan and see if you can take something from that helps you move to Japan, right? I should mention, though, I am filming this at the beginning of 2022. And, you know, Cocoa Pop's monkey's still kicking about, ruining everything out there. So, everything I said today might not apply for a while until the world sort of sorts its sen out. But then when it does, then you can apply all these things to your life and Bob's your uncle. So, first thing I did, well, I said did. I mean, not did, but kind of wish I'd done, is actually ask myself, why did I want to come to Japan, right? Because it's different for everyone. Your answer's probably different to my answer. In my case, I was fucking sick of my life in England. I didn't like it. Fancied a new challenge, meet some new people, see a bit of the world, and of course, have a go on maid cafes and that, innit? Should point out, never been to a maid cafe. No idea what it's like. Yeah, I wish I'd have probably done that, because that would have helped in dark times that come. Because, hey, moving to Japan is not all rose gardens like that song about promising rose gardens.
Now, here's Lynn Anderson.
I beg your pardon. I never promised you a rose garden.
On them days where it's a bit wank, kind of reminding yourself why you got here is a good thing. So, get that stored in your brain before you start doing anything, because this might not be for you. So, you know, think about it. Next thing I actually did was start looking at companies that allowed me to apply from overseas, because, you know, I were in England. I couldn't really just rock up to their office in Tokyo with my CV in hand. They're like, tell you what, I'll be there next Wednesday after a 14-hour flight, CV in hand, I'll meet you then. No fam, don't work that way. So I had a look on Gaijin Pot and probably a couple of others, I think it was Dave's ESL Cafe back in the day. Don't know if it's still a thing. But basically, I had a look at all different companies that I could apply to from overseas, right? And I had a look at what they actually want. Like, what is the recommended spec for a teacher? It's not a PC, but whatever. 99% of them, they want a degree. And that pisses a lot of people off, but it's not really up to them. That's Japanese immigration making rules. They're like, you want a visa? Better show me that degree, fam. And if you haven't got it, then go and get it, I guess, or find another way, because this way is not going to work for you. But, you know, they also want some kind of, what's it called? TEFL, or you know, whatever it is, some kind of qualification to be able to teach English. I mean, fair enough. Can't just get any Tom, Dick and Harry off at street. Well, probably they could, but, you know, you should actually work out what it is they want and try and achieve that. For me, that meant going and doing a CELTA course at Sheffield University. It were a bit steep, but it were good. I learned how to actually teach English, and that were pretty useful and probably helped me get a job this end. So, yeah, work out what they want and make sure you've got it. Next thing to do is actually start applying and, you know, just go to these posts and work out how you actually apply, send your CV to the right place, bish bash bosh. It's time for some interviews. Interviews for me in England were done online, just like Skype and that, because, you know, it's kind of far away, innit? I think in America, some people say like they do open days where you go to like an open day and it's like a group interview thing. I didn't do that. I would just like straight up Skype interview. They asked me some stuff about myself and like why I wanted to live in Japan and if I'd ever lived overseas and blah, blah, blah. And asked me some stuff about English. In my interview, they asked me the difference between bored and boring. And it's not like testing, do you know English? It's testing like, can you explain it? But interview were about half an hour. It weren't out special. Then I waited a while. Then they sent me an email like, CG's mate, you've got the job. Well done. And that were cool. But then that's when like the waiting started. So from getting that email, it did take about 8 or 9 months till I actually got on a plane because I had to do a lot of stuff. Like I had to get copies of all these records, like my degree and my qualifications and passports and criminal records checks. And I get all that stuff together, send it over to Japan, which, you know, takes time anyway. And then they had to check it and then they go to their local government office or something, and they get a COE, a certificate of eligibility. Then that comes back to England, and I had to take that down to London. I had to go down to London to the Japanese embassy and apply for a visa. Then that takes a week to process, and I had to go back down to London to get my visa. And then once all that was sorted, I got in touch with company again, like, cool, got my visa. And they helped me plan like when I were going to arrive in Japan and where I were going and which airport I needed to fly to and help me find accommodation and all that stuff. That's going to vary depending on company. Some companies have got apartments they put you in. Some companies are like, good luck, mate. So it depends on where it is. But for me, that's how it were. And then last step was to actually go and get on a plane. You know, and this was easiest step. You just get on a plane, but also hardest step because now you're like, mate, this is real. This is not just a plan in my head anymore. I'm about to get on a plane and move to the other side of the planet. It's not a wet weekend in Skeggy we're messing about with here. This is real life now. So, yeah, it were that flight were horrible. I was bricking it. But when I landed in Osaka, touchdown, that's international symbol for touchdown. Touchdown in Osaka. And I'm like, mate, adventure starts now, innit? But also that's when the realization set in like, what have you done? So that were a blessing and a curse. And there were a lot of stuff that surprised me that day. So I suggest you watch this video next about what to expect when you actually arrive in Japan. But that were my adventure coming to Japan. Thanks for watching. And as always, until next time, Jamat.